Carl and Liam here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com for sure. And it's video game track by track as we're going to PlayStation 1 in 1998 when a stealth video game was developed and released. It is the debut entry in the Tenchu series. Tenchu Stealth Assassins, published in Japan by Sony Music Entertainment and by Activision in the West. I can hear and picture the Activision logo already.
Would you say this is a hugely nostalgic game for you? Because if my memory serves right, I remember seeing you play this game quite a lot back in the day.
Yes, indeed. I am actually currently, as at the time recording, playing it again because I'm trying to complete all the Ayami levels with Grandmaster and record them from beginning to end with Grandmaster rating for the YouTube channel. Because I've done it with Rick and Maru, but I did that about 6 months ago. So I'm doing it with Ayami at the moment, but she fucking sucks. So it's hard.
Yeah, because for me, like this is a game obviously I grew up playing as well, but I never particularly got. I have to preface like what we're going to talk about here by saying that I never actually got that far in this game because I guess I was maybe I was a little bit a bit younger, so I struggled with this game, basically the difficulty of it. I remember playing the first few levels quite a lot, but struggling to get any further than that. I remember playing those first couple of levels like a lot over and over and over. I don't know if we had like a demo of it or something. I used to play it quite a lot, but yeah, the later stages of the game I never really like made it there. I think I remember watching you get there, but so a lot of this music, especially in the later stages of the soundtrack, for me was like hearing it for the first time almost.
Well, that's going to be interesting then, yeah, because almost every single track on this is pure nostalgia for me.
Yeah, so I'm in a lot of these tracks, I'm lacking the context. So I'm like kind of hearing it just for what the music is without necessarily knowing what it's associated with.
Well, that's good then to a certain degree because this soundtrack is music. Like it's not chip tunes. It's not that it's not like SNES level melodies. It's music.
It is, yeah.
Okay, so the music was actually composed by Noriko Asakura. He acted as both composer and arranger and used a combination of live and synthesized instruments, blending Japanese musical styles with Chinese, Thai, and Turkish elements to create a new type of Asian music. The goal was to take this musical style and fuse it with Western rock and fusion to defy player expectations about the music, which I think is fair to a certain degree. You certainly do get a lot of that feeling of Asian, Japanese and musical styles in it, but there are also instruments that you don't normally associate with that style.
Is it the sort of cultural aspect that gravitates you towards the game? Because obviously you seem to have quite a deep love for this game, and I remember really enjoying it. But
nope, it was simply it was just I love when we got this, so we had played Metal Gear Solid, and that was I think our first full experience of a game that had stealth. And then obviously with the chip PlayStation, it's very easy to get cheap games. And I think I'd heard about Tenchu or read it in a magazine, and it was like, oh, it's a stealth game, but as ninjas and things like that. And it's like, well, that's going to be fucking cool, isn't it? You know? And it was always that aspect. I don't particularly care. I have no cultural interest in Japanese samurai and ninjas and stuff like that. I couldn't give a flying fuck, to be honest. And even when I play it now, I'm not looking going, oh my God, look how accurate that outfit is and nonsense like that. I just enjoyed I just enjoyed the fact that you can play through every level of Tenchu and kill everyone, mostly everyone, except for bosses, stealthily. That's cool.
Yeah, that's true. And this was also like your sort of early beginnings of being a completionist, because you would obviously go back and not only just play it through in the most basic way possible, you'd want to completely beat it like in the hardest possible way and stuff like that. So yeah, so really, grabbed you.
Yeah, so Grandmaster is the highest ranking you can get, and basically, depending upon the level, you'd get Grandmaster if you complete. It was about being spotted and kills, the balance of the two, and that's how that would work out. It wasn't so much about time or taking damage or anything like that. It was about stealth and all of that. It's actually quite easy to get Grandmaster on most levels. It really is. There are ones where I've been spotted like 6 times and still got Grandmaster, even though I've killed like half the level's enemies. So it was not that it was difficult. But what Tenchu had was this really fucking annoying system where every level had 3 versions of that level. So basically in the main menu screen, it would actually show you statistics where it'd show you each different route of the level. So every level designed the same, but one route bad guys would be different. Another route, bad guys would be in different places. So 3 different versions of every single level. So there are 10 levels. So in theory, there are 30 different levels. However, it was random. There was no way to know which version of the level you would get. So if you wanted to 100% it and get Grandmaster in every route and every level, you would just have to load up a level, see if it was the one you needed, quit out, until eventually it's that randomized fucking nature. It was awful, awful.
That's quite impressive though. So that's like almost early procedural generation on a PlayStation 1 game, which I don't know how many any other games that did that at the time. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, value for money, because with Ayame, that makes 60 levels overall, really. So yeah, it's a hell of a lot.
It's definitely one of those games I would love to go back and play again with my how old I am now and stuff like that, because I just stuck to this game so bad back in the day. I don't know, something about it I found it really difficult. So I reckon now I went back and played it. I don't know if the challenge would still be there, you know.
Interesting. Okay. Aju, the opening theme. There is nothing quite like this in the game, mainly because it has lyrics. It has a romantic feel. Her vocals are powerful, and it transitions into the male voice cleverly. It speaks of mystery, danger, and ancient times, and really gets good as it rocks up. It's an impressive showcase of what the game would have to offer, and it's a nostalgic hit as much as anything else. That opening sort of cry that comes out, it just immediately makes me, I would recognize that anywhere.
Yeah, I think it's a very powerful piece of music to have played simply during your opening cinematic, and it sets the tragic tone immediately. It's a very emotionally charged piece of music, and even for me, this is very nostalgic as well.
Title screen. A massive kick of nostalgia here. It gets you buzzing for starting the game.
Yeah, exactly. Those simple few notes with the horn instruments at the start of the track is just oh so memorable.
Character selection. The Asian tones are quite unique here, and it's got more layers than necessary. It's one of those weird ones where I'm like, you're putting too much effort in for a character selection screen, guys. It doesn't even need music, so bravo for that.
It is a good example of how hard they went on this soundtrack for just a simple character selection. As you say, maybe you didn't need to quite as much on this one, but it's certainly it's good.
I will forever, ever, whenever I see stuff like this, I just think of Super Mario 64 and the incredible music they use for the save file screen. It's like, God damn it, you don't have to do this, but there you go. Training mission. This uses a simpler version of the section that appears in Adu, then develops into something a bit more chill and relaxing. It's got nice guitar melody here. I think it's perfect for its level, the training level.
Yeah, I think this is a fine example of how impressively technical a lot of the tracks are throughout this soundtrack. It's got a very soulful nature to it that I liked as well.
And then we start going into the levels. We start with basically every track is the same name as the level pretty much. We start with Punish the Evil Merchant, which is the opening level of the game. Dramatic and sneaky. It's a great first level track as it explores different tones and layers the game would have overall. Stepping into epic locales without overdoing it either. Like it'll reach a crescendo, but never feel like, all right, calm down, because it's not time for that. We've not actually, because the level isn't that epic. It's you just hunting down an evil merchant.
Yeah, this is probably the most memorable piece of music in the game for me because it plays during the first level. And as I already mentioned, I didn't get that far in the game, so I spent a lot of time just playing around, having a blast on this first level. So I remember hearing this a lot. And I know I've mentioned it already, but again, I think it's very impressive, the complexity of these tracks that are going to be in this soundtrack, because this is a PlayStation 1 game. And I don't think there are too many other games that had as many technical, like different instruments and the vocals and stuff like that. So yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, I think along certain games just set the bar so high. We've already mentioned it, but I think, you know, when you look at Metal Gear Solid and you look at the soundtrack of Metal Gear Solid and all that, if you were a video game composer planning to do a game that was fairly large and big, you were kind of like, ah, shit. Oh shit, we can't half-ass this anymore.
Yeah, the bar has been raised quite high by that and this type of thing.
Well, yeah, even a little bit earlier, we're talking like Final Fantasy VII. I mean, talk about bar raising, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, battle with a fierce enemy. It's battle music, really. Heart racing and energetic. It's a battle. The music fits that nicely.
Yeah, it's called Battle with a Fierce Enemy, and that is exactly the message it gets across with this tense, fairly epic track.
Second level, deliver the secret message. This has earnest tones with moody ambience. However, this comes in one of my most disliked levels, so I don't actually remember this one too fondly. And it's nice enough and all that, but I just hate the level so much.
Again, I want to highlight the fantastic composition here. And for me, if there's a piece of music out there that might make you feel like you're playing as a warrior ninja, this might just be the one.
Okay, all right.
That's just in my mind. Like I said, I don't have a lot of context to a lot of these things, but that's just how I felt when listening to it anyway.
No, cool, cool, cool. Rescue the Captive Ninja. I love this. The echoing ambience, the mysterious melody, the dripping effect, and eerie feel overall. It's a strong track that really blows up as it goes on. This is one of my favorite in the game. It's also one of my favorite levels. In fact, it was the last level I was playing only literally 2 days ago with Ayami that I fell down the fucking pit with because of this stupid camera and had to restart the thing. But I still got a lot of love for this. And this music just fits it because you start off in a forest as well. And like and immediately there's enemies patrolling, and you got the caves. It's really, really good.
Mm. Yeah, I find this to be a very ominous, atmospheric track that feels very haunting in nature. I really
Mhm.
liked it.
He's got a cool boss as well. I can't remember if Ayami fights him, but it's the big dude and his bear.
Mm.
Cross the checkpoint. I think it's interesting how this one mixes moody urgency with a very, very experimental guitar music. It is one of the more disjointed tracks overall as more instruments join in. I can take or leave this one, aside from what I think is probably the strongest part, an epic horn style section.
Mm. I thought that this track, again, the soundtrack on the whole did such a great job of capturing this authentic feel of ancient Japan, and even down to the instruments they used. It sounds like they're using like these really old-timey instruments, which is really cool. And I think this track in particular is a good example of that.
Okay, okay. So, would you say you were from do you remember that level? And from this point onwards, do you not remember anything?
No, it's not really. Like you mentioned, the big guy and the bear, that sounds familiar. But then I think a lot of my memories, like I said, are from maybe watching you play. But for me personally, no, I definitely didn't get this far.
Well, that's interesting because I'm going to try then avoiding what a level theme might be like until after you've spoken to sort of see if the music captured it for you.
Okay.
Execute the Corrupt Minister, which is level 5, and it's one of my favorite levels, which also has one of my favorite pieces where there's a strong sense of sadness in the air. It fits the theme of this level really, really nicely. I find this one quite haunting.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought this was a very sorrowful feeling piece of music that actually made me feel pretty sad listening to it. Um, it, they just don't really make video game music like this anymore as well. Like, I thought it's so well like orchestrated and put together. Yeah, it's just you don't really hear this kind of thing in modern games, which I thought is a bit of a shame. But I love the usage of the flutes and the violins in this track as well. It's definitely one of my favorites.
So this is a snowy level.
Oh,
It's
really?
set in a little sort of village area in a snowy level. So that's the kind of vibe it's given off. And the reason why it's got the strong sense of sadness is basically the corrupt minister. If you play as Rikamaru is all about honor. You will not fight the boss. He will
Mm,
commit harakiri and kill himself because
mm,
he's ashamed of what he's done.
mhm.
Ayami is a smart ass gobby and she just respects him. So you have to fight him if you're Ayami.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
I can maybe I can put like the picture in my mind to with the music. I can see that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Infiltrate the Manji cult. This is unusual. It's worrisome. It's trippy almost. It's very wacky and it's a bit wonderful because it's a strong sense of danger throughout this one. Not that memorable of a level overall, but the music really does stand out. Not necessarily for the right reasons, though.
Yeah, I found this to be quite an ominous sounding track, and to me, it gave me the sense that the game was building towards your final goal, but I might be completely off with that. That's just the sense I got.
You are actually right, because this is where the bigger picture of Tenchu is unveiled. Because at the moment you've been dealing with like little crimes here and there, but this is the Manji cult, which is actually tied directly into the end boss and a reoccurring sub boss that pops up a few times as well. So you actually are right.
That's cool.
Before that, though, we have Destroy the Foreign Pirate. So memorable because of the added sound effects, the lapping of the water, the sound of explosions, all this with this mellow melody that makes great use of synth. Then it kicks in a more memorable Tenchu tones that is uplifting and epic, kind of pushing you on to battle. Great level, great fucking piece of music.
Destroy the Foreign Pirate, you said. The next one I've got is called Destroy the Plate. Is that the same one, or?
I imagine it's the same one, yeah.
Oh, okay, it must be. Okay. I thought this was a very moody track with melancholic vibes. It's the type of music that got me fascinated with the ancient Japanese culture and made me long to hopefully visit there one day. That's actually something I actually do have quite an interest in. Just throwing that out there.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough.
Broken
Why?
Shenmue, but there you go.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, of course. Elements like that. I think, yeah, on that side of things, the more peaceful lifestyle has always been more appealing when you live in like such a high pressured city where everything moves and so on. Of course, it's going to appeal. But we just got to go back to the 80s, though. Shenmue's set in the 80s.
That's very true. It wouldn't be the same.
Battle with the Foreign Pirate. Look, this one just doesn't fit. And even though I've played this loads, I did not remember this track.
Yeah, this is one for me that I just put there as I never made it this far into the game. I don't feel the context as much as someone who understands what it goes with, but it sounded pretty important. That's all I could say.
It's the boss of this level. So we have Destroy the Foreign Pirate, which is the level it's set at the docks, which is where you get a water lapping, and the pirates have kind of like landed and are causing a bit of chaos. And this is the boss on the boat. That's what it is.
So there's some importance to it then.
Yeah. Cure the Princess. Strong ambience. The increasing urgency and later use of horns fits the more dramatic melody nicely. This one has that urgent feel that ties into the level. It's also a return to the forest style levels with the caves, except this one changes things. You're climbing a mountain, so you're going up, which is really cool.
I found this to be a very melancholic track, and it evoked a sense of contemplation, I thought.
One of the best levels, and most, probably one of the difficult ones as well. Reclaim the Castle, the simulation of war drums, the jabbing violin, the moody bass sound. This is all very cool and it builds on volume impressively. The rough and raw guitar tone, though, is an interesting touch. I'm not entirely sure if it worked for me.
I just felt like this smartly gave the sense of an impending battle.
Well, of course, at the very top of this castle, when you do reach there, you will do your first battle with Onakage, that motherfucker, on that tiny little roof where you can fuck the game up by knocking him over the edge and then he'll get stuck on the platforms and make it really hard for you to fight him. Or you can get knocked over and drop to the very bottom of the damn tower just to get back up there and carry on the fight. Yes, Onakage, what a prick.
Doesn't sound frustrating at all.
Yes, he is the sub boss, the one that reappears from the Manji cult, because he will appear later in the game too, because you don't kill him here. Free the Princess. I mean, it says what it is in the title. This is everything. Epic, weird, atmospheric, dramatic, haunting, dangerous, extremely memorable. I can picture this level perfectly. That exercise style bell section is baffling, but I do kind of like it because it's just weird and it's just all right, cool. do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I got that sort of Exorcist sort of melody vibe in there as well, which I thought was very interesting. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It's definitely a lot going on in it for sure.
Game over. You want some drama in a game over? This has it.
Yeah, I just thought this was again another very soulful, emotionally charged piece of music.
Tenchu Suite. I didn't recognize this one at all. It is certainly grand. The moody tone, sharp violin jabs, and switch to bluesy guitar and piano. I don't know how I feel about this one, especially as the vocals don't really do much for me here.
Okay, I didn't have I must have missed Game Over because my notes for what you said for Game Over basically were for Tenchu Suite. So, but Tenchu Suite, very soulful, emotionally charged piece of music.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
Must have been confused.
No matter. Sometimes these game over screens and like menu ones are not the important aspects. It's mainly, oh, right, it's in this playlist that I've found. Let's just do it in order. Because it's hard sometimes to find what a complete soundtrack looks like.
Clearly, I missed that one somehow.
No matter, no matter. Battle with Onakage, and I've just written this motherfucker. Frantic and intense. Yeah, his kick moves in the game you'll be blocking and blocking and blocking and just waiting for your opportunity to kill him. And at least when you do eventually kill him, it is joyful.
Yeah, again for me, probably lacking the context, but I thought it was a very well put together piece that's juggling a lot of different elements impressively.
Battle with Lord Mayo. Fucking A. An end boss theme that feels like an end boss theme. And everyone knows, my goodness me, was he a difficult end boss. That lightning strike was a dick move. But you know what the answer is, people? Bring plenty of bombs with you and you can knock almost 3/4 of his health off, if not almost all of it, without him really doing anything. There's my hint.
That's a good tip. But yeah, this gave me vibes of finality, like you've reached the end of your journey, but with one more obstacle to overcome. That's what it gave me. So clearly, it did a good job. Put that in my mind, and that's what it's about. So there you go.
Yeah, because even the area you're fighting him in with the portal and in fact it gave you that vibe. It's exactly that. It is the finale of the game. And that brings us to the ending theme, Far Away. It's haunting and pretty. It's a sad piece of music that encapsulates the entire experience well. The tone shifts and the blend into more familiar Tenchu territory is welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically just going to repeat pretty much what you said, but it just encapsulates that feeling that you come to the end of an epic journey.
Did you get a sense of sadness from it?
I mean, I got that all the way throughout. I think I've said melancholic like 20 times. So, yeah, it just continued that vibe really.
Okay, because, I mean, I guess it does no harm if I go into spoilers here?
I read through some of the comments. I like to, on YouTube, I like to read through some of the comments and to give like an idea of what other people felt about the music.
Yeah,
as
the
well.
vibes they're getting,
But, so I did get the spoiler of what this was about, what happens to Rikimaru at the end. So I do know. You can put a spoiler if you want, I don't mind.
No, it's cool. It's just that literally, obviously, the ending for Yami and Rikimaru is exactly the same, and it does result in Rikimaru dying, which might confuse you because, like, isn't there a Tenchu 2? It's like, that's a prequel. It's actually a prequel, Tenchu 2.
I'd say this quickly. The most common theme throughout all the comments of these tracks were people saying that they like never hit the heights with the soundtracks or even the games beyond basically this one and maybe the second one. Never really like managed to get back to as good as this like ever. A lot of people were saying that I saw. So don't know how you
Be interested. I'll be honest, I don't know. I played a little of Tenchu 2, but by then I think I'd moved. I think we'd moved on to Nintendo 64, and I wasn't really playing much of it. I've vague recollections of like might even be a demo. May never have actually owned it.
Also, a lot of people just begging for this game to get remade or something like that at some point.
All right, and then we got mission results, and I've literally written quite catchy as it goes.
Yeah, this one's actually pretty memorable to me because again, you get the results after the missions, and I at least did the first one or two, three levels, so I remember it.
Fair enough. That is Tenchu Stealth Assassin, the soundtrack as far as we can see for it, what we've managed to do. Of course, top 3 tracks here, and I will go first with this, and I have gone for Rescue the Captive Ninja, based off the echo and ambience more than anything else. Execute the Corrupt Minister, just that snowy vibe, that sense of sorrow in the air, and the fact that kind of, particularly if you play it from the Rika Maru perspective, it has a kind of like, all right, honorable finale compared to a lot of the other levels. And just because it's epic, it's got that lapping water and the bombastic sound of war going on in the background. Destroy the Foreign Pirate is my third.
Cool. I've gone for Punish the Evil because, but it's the first level, and I mentioned all the
one you're
reasons why.
really familiar with.
Yeah. I also really liked, which one was it? Oh, I also really like Rescue the Captain Ninja as well. For again, it's got a super haunting feel to it that I really liked. And my final one that I liked was Execute the Minister because yeah, I really like I said, I really like the usage of flutes and violins in this one, and it just made me feel sad. It made me feel something. So it must have done a good job.
It's been a different track by track. I think this might be the first one we've fully covered where the familiarity for is different between the two of us.
Yeah.
So yeah. What do you think, Tenchu Stealth Assassins? You got a lot of love for it? Are you unfamiliar with it? And you find listening to it that you quite enjoy the experience and makes you want to go play it? You know what to do. Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?